Good morning folks, the Lofty Biker here. I've come down to Flushing. I've just picked this little bike up from BMW in Falmouth. As promised, I wanted to give you an R1200RS comparison to the 1250. Now unfortunately, BMW at Falmouth haven't actually got the RS currently in the demo fleet. So I've borrowed this little bad boy. On all accounts, it's very similar. The engine is the 1250, the new model, and the ergonomics are pretty much like the 1200 RS. Of course, as you notice, there's no fairing, and the handlebars are standard handlebars. Now, the 1250 engine, what exactly is the difference? It's 84 cc's bigger. It's got 11 brake horsepower more. It has got 14 foot-pound more. And it is actually an extra 7 kilos heavier than the previous model, the 1200. This being the R model, pretty much the same weight as my 1200 RS. It's lighter than the 1250. The 1250 does carry more weight. Unfortunately, there is no quick shifter, no heated grips. It is the exclusive. It's got the big beefy stainless pipe on, not the chrome one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it for a bit of a shifty, and we're going to tell you exactly what we think you get extra on the 1250 over the 1200. Good morning folks, Lofty Bike here, keyless ride. Press and hold. There we go, beautiful dash. So as I said earlier, we're going to take out the R1250. 70 miles remaining, we're in road mode, that'll do. So we're just leaving the docks down here. Okay. So the first initial thing I notice, the engine does seem a little bit quieter than the 1200. Not a lot, just a little bit. And the bite on the clutch, the take up on the clutch is slightly fiercer. There's also a little tinny rattly noise, head noise. So this version is the exclusive. Doesn't feel unlike my 1250 to ride. It's got the standard seat, which is 820 millimeters, whereas on mine I've got the sport seat at 840. So the extra 20 mil does make it feel that little bit smaller, little bit tighter in the hip, but still very comfortable. If you've ridden BMWs, you'll know that pretty much everything's the same. The switch gear's pretty much the same. There is no heated grips, I've just noticed. This version's got the SOS button. I must admit, if I was paying, I would have had a quick shifter and a heated grip over an SOS button, but that's my personal opinion. It's got this wonderful dash. I must say, I really like the dash. It's one of those things, they're so intuitive to look at. Everything's there where you need it, where you want it. 60 odd mile to we need some fuel. So we'll take it a bit of a ride round and give it a bit of a test out. It does feel different having proper handlebars, whereas the RS bars are slightly angled back, and on the standard bike slightly lower. These are pretty much where my RS bars are height wise, so ergonomically it does feel like an RS with a straighter bar. I know this is a popular mod on the RS to fit these bars, and it's pretty straightforward. You can buy the Nippy Norman kit, which I think is a Wonderlic kit, or you can buy the genuine BMW bits and pieces. It's not that difficult to do, and it does feel nice actually. It's a nice seating position. I've smiled actually, because I've seen a few reviews recently where people have said it's a nice little bike. I don't think it's a little bike at all. I think this is a beautifully crafted. It's a 1250cc roadster. It doesn't feel small at all. We'll dispatch a bit of traffic shortly, and we'll see how the engine goes. Very, very smooth. Gearbox is pretty nice. As I say, there's no quick shifter. We'll just nip past. Boxer engines are torquey. They've got lots and lots of torque. In fact, the last roadster I rode was Benny's. He's got the 1100R. It's 97 or 98, I think. And when you think in 20 odd years, the refinement that they've brought to the Boxer engine and the actual package in general, it's phenomenal. Whereas the old 1100s feel fairly agricultural, these new engines, smooth as silk really. They're just so good, so refined. And like I say, it's pretty quiet. As of yet, I've not missed the quick shifter, although I do use it a lot on my mic. But we'll see how we get on. We've got some mobile traffic lights here. Thanks lads. We keep coming from light into shade, so I do hope the picture's okay. I haven't really, as yet, noticed no screen. They've seemed to have integrated the light and the TFT into like a little flip, and it seems to direct air up and over. Very little noise, but then again, I'm only doing 35 mile an hour. Albeit in the 60 zone. Strange, some of these new zones are quite weird, aren't they? Some of you think 60 will be a 50, and some of you think 60 will be a 30. And then some of you'll think will be 30 will be a 60. I don't know, it's one of those things, isn't it? Who cares? As long as you don't get caught for speeding by doing something silly, it doesn't really matter. Keep your eyes on the road and use your common sense. Engine braking very good. Second gear down a steepish hill. Very smooth. No throttle lurch, no throttle slack. Like I say, this is in road. It doesn't appear to have dynamic or dynamic pro. I always thought when you put a demo bike on the road, you normally put it on the road with every conceivable extra to make people want to buy it. And as I say, this machine's got no quick shifter and no heated grips. And in this day and age in the United Kingdom, I'd have thought the first thing that went onto the shopping list would be a set of heated grips. I'm not sure whether you can actually see the speedometer from my helmet cam, but I'll just dip my head slightly. There it is, it's lovely. This is a clever thing I like, the redness. It does it on the RS, on the old model, but when you first start these up, the actual red bit, the red line, is down around 4,500 revs, and as the engine warms up, the red line just creeps along up until its peak. I believe the peak on this, peak torque, peak power, is around the 7,000, 7,500 mark. To be fair, in this day and age on a 1250, I doubt very much whether people get up to that sort of realm. So here we are, we'll do it up the hill, we'll do a third gear roll on. Well, it takes off nicely. Unfortunately, the X1 decided to overtake without using his indicators or his mirror. Right, so there we go. Absolutely beautiful. You can tell there is a slight difference. It does feel like it's got a little bit fatter torque wave. Don't get me wrong, the 1200 sorry, would have took off up that hill exactly the same, but it does seem to be a little bit more instant. That, of course, cubes give you power, and as soon as you start adding, what is it, 80 odd cc more, you're going to get more power. It's simple, rules of physics. Cubes give you power. But the one good thing about BMWs, especially these boxer engines, they have contained that torque and in the middle, in the mid-range. Like I say, it hits peak torque at about 6,500 or something, 6,250, which is usable torque. Most of these modern super bikes now, the 1190s or the 1150s with the 150, 160 brake horsepower, to get peak torque you're having to give it quite a lot of revs, and to be honest, they're just license losers. This feels like the sort of bike you could happily ride around on daily. In fact, probably for most of the time it would probably be a better choice than the RS. I know that sounds strange. I am a big RS fan because I do like motorbikes to look like motorbikes, if you know what I mean. I'm not being facetious about that. This looks like a proper old-fashioned roadster, and the RS looks like a proper old-fashioned sports tourer. Now, I do tend to do a lot of two-up riding. Linda likes to come out with me and we like to do tours, we like to go abroad. Now, I know the luggage is identical. The luggage package is identical on the R to the RS, so that wouldn't be a problem. And the tank bag would be no problem at all. This silly thing here, the prepared for sat nav in that position, it's the first thing everybody with an RS moves, whether they're by the Hornig one or the Motomate. I've got the Motomate. You stick the sat nav where you can see it above the dash. Probably be a bit more challenging on this to move it, but that's a silly place for it. It's just not effective at all. You'd probably be better off getting a Garmin mount with a ram bar and sticking it up the side here somewhere, so as it's at least sort of usable with your eye line. Where it is there, it is a complete waste of time. Sorry for being so outspoken, but that is my opinion. Complete waste of time. So we're just coming down here nice and steady, doing about 30 mile an hour through Ponsanooth. Lovely name, Ponsanooth. This used to be a 60 zone all the way through. It's now 30 mile an hour, and it's been 30 mile an hour for a while. We've got the original tyres on this one, the Z8 Interax, perfectly adequate tyre, can't fault them. They're good in most conditions. I did find my second set wore out a little bit too quickly for my liking. The road surfaces down here in Cornwall are a little bit abrasive. We're coming up against some traffic. There we go, on and off the throttle, feel it? Lovely. There's no delay, no lurch. But then again, in road mode, which is what you probably use most of the time anyway. I'll just drop it into rain, see what it feels like. Yeah, it does soften it off quite considerably. Thank you, ladies. It's still usable. I should imagine if you was doing a lot of city or town riding, rain mode would be very good. It's still full power. They don't cut the power or nothing. All it does, it just softens that initial delivery from zero throttle. For that first initial 5-10% of throttle, it's just the pickup smooth. Very nice actually. I'll just drop it back into road mode. That's nice. Hold to line, lovely. You literally only have to look where you want to go. You don't actually consciously need to counter steer. It's so intuitive. The balance of the bike is perfect, which you would expect. They've been making these bikes long enough because this is the original BMW, the Roadster. Seems quite strange having no quick shifter, as I've said before, but clutchless shifts once you're in third gear, not a problem at all. Throttle off and bang it down, just throttle off and snick it up one. There you go. I suppose at the end of the day you've got to say, would you buy the 1200 engine or would you buy the 1250? Personally, where I am at the moment, with a virtually new RS, mine's an 18 plate, it's barely 2 years old. Well, it is 2 years old, I suppose. It's done 10,000 miles, it's barely running. So I wouldn't consider it yet unless a really good deal came up on a new RS. I would definitely keep with the RS, although I do like this R. And for riding around here, the R probably most of the time would suit the roads better than the RS. But of course we all go touring, and I do appear, well, I'm going to be doing more touring in the next few years. Just have a look behind, it's all clear. Sneak it down, we'll turn up. I'm going to take the road up to Carharrick. There you go, look at that, lovely and smooth, the pickup. So like I say, I prefer a screen and a fairing. I like the look of the RS. I like a motorbike to look like a motorbike. So, but I've got to say, this is a lovely piece of kit. It's back to it again. The amount of people who most of their riding career are riding around on roads pick GS's, and especially them big adventurous, over one of these. It just defeats me. Why you'd want to be riding something big and tall that weighs 250, 260 kilos when you could pick one of these about 230 kilos, throw it around like a toy. I don't know, quite strange. I'll just drop back a little bit from the drum school teacher. I don't want him to get in his boot and start upsetting him. There we go. Yeah, we caught the limiter a little bit then in third. But the pickup is sublime. Road holding good. Here we go, dropping into a 30. The West Country delivery van, they're everywhere down here. So we're just pootled through Carharrick, and I'm going to take a right onto the United Downs Road, and we'll open it up a little bit. Thank you. And just get a feel for the handling. I'll do a brake test as well in a moment. I know they're the same brakes as mine. They've got the Brembos on, unlike the Hayes that they're fitting now to the GS's. These are good old-fashioned Brembos. A lovely sunny day today down here in Cornwall. Absolutely glorious. Look at this. Barely a cloud in the sky. Middle of October. Absolutely gorgeous. 14 degrees showing on the clock there. Just clear these crossroads. There we go. We'll sneak it up a little bit. Yeah, I find this bike very, very comfortable to ride. Road holding is superb. Here we go, we're dropping into a 30 again. Nice and slowly. I'm going to take the turn here for United Downs. After you, sir. Lovely road this. Quite a bit of grip, whatever the time of the year. Like I say, the roads down here are fairly abrasive. I've got a couple of dogs just Slow down a touch, we don't upset the Alsatians. There we go. Nice easy clutchless change there. I do miss the blipper. That blipper's an amazing bit of kit. To be honest with you, although the quick shifter's pretty damn good, I find the auto blipper more useful, especially when you want to scrub a bit of speed off. Yeah, lovely, lovely. I hope you're getting some of these views, and I hope the sound's not too bad. I just scrub a little bit of speed off. Got a couple of bends coming. There we go. That's third gear, is it? Third gear. Yeah, lovely. I must admit, my brakes might need a bit of a clean up. These feel fairly sharp compared in comparison. I'll just get round a couple of these corners on the straight and here we go. There's nothing about at all. We're going uphill, 44 mile an hour. Oh, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good, yeah. I'll get round the corner a bit and I'll give the back brake a bit of a stab, see what that does. They are linked. They're to a combined braking system on the BM. I've got some pedestrians again. Well, I can't do 44 now because we're dropping into a 30. Well, here's a playground. So there's no kids about. So, junction coming up. I'm just going to give the back brake a bit of a tap, see what it's like at 35 mile an hour. Now, I don't think that's a lot of bottle. Now, that's my opinion. I might be right, I might be wrong. Obviously, that the RS is probably slightly heavier on the back, I don't know. I do drive with the top box on quite a lot, so that would put a bit of weight over the back wheel. I find the back brake on the RS is far more substantial, and because of the lack of weight, I found the anti-lock came in. I'll just try it again downhill, 30 mile an hour. Yeah, it stops you, but it's more of a stability use, really, I would think. Let's have a go on them fronts. Yeah, the fronts are nice. Soak up a bit of these roads. Look at this. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, there's one thing I've noticed. The back end is a bit light. Probably just this model of bike. After being out on the R18 the other day, the R18 felt like a battleship planted in the water, especially at the back end, because all the weight was on the back wheel. This does feel a bit flightier. Not through the handlebars. Back out on the main road shortly. Here we are. I did want to try a little U-turn on it, but it's fairly busy. So we're just creeping up. There we go, stabilise it. So what can I say? In conclusion, I know I've not been on the motorway or anything, but I don't really see the point in showing you what an R1250R feels like on the motorway. We know there's no screen, we know there's going to be a lot of wind blast. I would imagine if you did want to go touring on this, you would have to get one of the aftermarket screens, whether it be a BOOOO screen or a Skidmark screen, whatever. You just bolted on for the fortnight you went away. In fact, that probably would be a plan actually. If you didn't want to go the full sports tourer way and you wanted to ride round on something a bit more flickable, you could always get an aftermarket touring screen and bolt it on for 2 weeks, just so as you can do a bit of motorway mileage, because like I said, the luggage is the same. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to be talking to you all morning. I'm pretty impressed with the new engine. I don't think it's a vast move on. The shift cam itself, it does work, it's brilliant. You cannot tell. You cannot tell when it clicks in. I don't know how it does it. I know it's a bit of a worm wheel or something that turns it from one lobe on the cam to the other lobe on the cam, and it gives you a low lift cam at low revs and a high lift cam at high revs, so you get the best of both worlds. Absolutely brilliant idea. Come from the cars, I believe, but it does work, and it works well on a twin cylinder boxer engine. But at this moment in time, would I want to take a big hit and buy a new one? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm smitten with the new engine. I don't think it's a vast leap in technology, but they never are they? When the liquid cool came out, it was better than the twin cam, and when the twin cam came out, it was better than the single cam. And of course, they keep on chasing cubes, they keep on increasing the cubes. So, will there be a 1300? I don't know. All I can say is when they honestly thought that the boxer engine was finished, when they bought the K series out, I don't think they realised that technology would be so good to make this bike, and this engine especially, have the longevity it's had. Let's face it, it's got to be the best part of 100 years old, and it's still an amazing bit of kit. Whether you like the look of it, I must admit I was a doubter. Whether you like the look, you can't tell when you're riding it. All I can see is a tank on my knees, not a problem at all. So there you go. Until the next time, and I'll test something else out for you. It's the Lofty Biker saying ta-ra for now. Ta-ra.